Good afternoon. Welcome back for the press conference before the NCAA East Region Final. A few reminders before we get started. Please take a moment to check your cell phones and devices, set them to silent mode if you would. Again, please refrain from flash photography or recording a video of any kind in this room. The video acquisition area is located a couple doors down. You can get all AV feeds from that area. The satellite coordinates for this session, Galaxy 17/17K, slot C, 12044.5H. With that, we'll get started. We welcome the Texas Tech Red Raiders from the Big 12 Conference with a record of 27-9. Joining us here is head coach Chris Beard, Keenan Evans, and Zach Smith. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach. We'll go with about up to 20 minutes for questions for the student athletes only. We'll then excuse the student athletes and then take questions for Coach Beard. With that, Coach, welcome back, and your thoughts on the upcoming matchup with Villanova, please.
Well, I told the guys when you continue to advance in the tournament, you're just going to continue to play the best teams in the country, and that's certainly our opinion of Villanova. I think, one, just being a basketball guy, it's a team that I'm familiar with because I try to watch them whenever they're on TV at night. Just love the way they play. A lot of things we do defensively, we've taken from Villanova in terms of switching and playing versatile players. Then on offense, they just have one of the most explosive offenses in college basketball. The ability to get to 90 or 100 points on any given night, three-point shot, just very talented players. So we have nothing but respect for their program, their talent level, and their coach. In our eyes, we're going to have to play our best 40 minutes of the season to advance, and that's our objective.
Again, we have Keenan Evans and Zach Smith here for Texas Tech. If we address questions to one or both of those student athletes, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you, and please introduce yourself before your question. Again, we'll start in the front with Julian.
For both of you guys, honestly, you guys have one of the, you've said this before, you have one of the best benches in the country, if not the best. But one, how do you cultivate that kind of depth and from starters to the bench? And then how valuable is it when you check out of a game that they're going to protect the lead, if not build it?
It's definitely big with our team. Just knowing that if we get off to a good start or a bad start, they're going to come in and the energy is just going to pick up. And with us, everybody knows their role, and there's no confrontation with I want to start, I want to get more minutes. Everybody's happy and just coming in and ready to play once they get in.
Yeah, the bench is extremely valuable. Just coming in and trying to play hard, play your role, of course, and do things to help the team.
Basically, like starters versus starters. They're coming at our heads, we're coming at their heads. We just try to make each other better.
Extremely competitive.
Go over here to Dana.
Dana O'Neill from The Athletic. For either of you guys, you had a coaching change. How different is Coach Beard from Coach Smith, and why did it work so well? Because very often it doesn't work.
It was very different than Coach Smith in a lot of different ways. Coach Beard brought in a completely different culture, and it's helped quite a bit.
Back to Nancy.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Can you expound on that, the differences in the culture, and what were your first impressions of Coach Beard when he arrived?
My first impressions were how hard-working he is, how often he stays at the gym, late nights, just working on film, breaking down film, and his energy is also quite a bit higher, bringing in the music, stuff like that.
Over here, please.
Kyle Hightower, the Associated Press. Either one of you guys, how much have you guys embraced defense in this tournament? I think you've had a team get over 70 points this tournament for you guys, and it's like it's really been an emphasis as the tournament kicked off for you.
We know that defense wins championships, and that's our identity. So we had to bring our identity to this tournament and get in the gym, work on a few more things to fix it up, and that this game we can't get into a scoring match with Villanova. They're such a offensively powerful team, so we just have to defend them very well.
Oh, yeah. We understand defense travels. We can bring defense to every game, and our energy does a lot on the defense end.
here, please.
Hi, it's Mark from Newsday, New York. Not to belabor the question about the coach, but Keenan, I want to get your thoughts on that. What was it when you first met with Coach Beard that kind of won you over, that made you his guy?
Just as soon as the job opened up, he was basically there the next day. Came in, had one-on-one conversations with everybody, and stood out to me is one of the first things he said was, "I want to win, and we're gonna win if you stay." And you get your core group of guys to stay, and I'm gonna bring in help. And he did that. He stayed. And he did basically what he said he was gonna do, and that's what stood out to me.
Back to Julian, please.
Just Keenan, you sort of earned this label as a closer, especially throughout the tournament. But how have you embraced sort of making plays, even the small ones, late in games that kind of help swing it?
Just from the coaches and my teammates just instilling that confidence and letting me know that they want me to make those plays, and just them coming to me and telling me what they see on the court, whether it be at halftime or in the second half, and them telling me I need to be more aggressive or, hey, look out for this. And even if it isn't scoring, Coach Beard always tells me, hey, this could be a 20-assist game, 10-assist game, and just knowing that it always doesn't have to be from scoring. It could be defensive plays or, just dive on the ball plays.
We'll go in the middle here to Nicole.
Nicole Iraq, The Athletic. Keenan, what is this about? Obviously, the Elite Eight is a level that this program has never been to before. What is it about Coach Beard and this program that believes you to believe that this is where the program can be in the future too?
Just from second year here, and look where we are right now. Go from not making the tournament at all to Elite Eight. So it just shows that this is only the beginning, and the young guys, they have no ceilings, and I'm excited for them in the future, and I'm excited for Coach, especially what recruits he'll bring in, and just knowing that this is basically us setting the foundation, and it's just going to only go up from here.
Over here on the left, please.
Paul Tubbs, KLBK Lubbock. Zach, just kind of talk a little bit about how you're feeling now, because I know you've had now a few games under your belt, and just the progress that you've been able to make since coming back from your injury.
I feel great about the progress I've been able to make. I feel unbelievable out there on the court, and it's just great to be out there.
Go back over here to Dana.
Keenan, you guys talked about the music, and it seems like a silly thing, I think, to a lot of people. Like, why does that? What's the big deal? But why does that matter? Why does that make such an impact on you guys?
It's just our culture. It helps us get ready to play. It brings energy. It brings life. And even though we probably play a little bit too much country, it gets the coaches even in a great mood and gets them fired up. So just us having music in there brings a little personality and helps us have fun in practice.
Do you have a favorite country song?
Honestly, I don't know any of the song names, but I mean, you'll catch me singing along to some of them.
You like Mama Tried, Merle Haggard?
Which one is that? Yeah, that one.
Go over here to Jimmy, please.
Jimmy Golan from the Associated Press. I just wanted to hear your thoughts about how the Big 12 is doing and how that playing in that conference might have prepared you for these games. And when you watch the other teams in the tournament, are you rooting for them now, or there's still a rivalry?
I'm definitely rooting for them, but I mean, if we would have to run into them, of course, it'd be a rivalry. But it's always good to see, someone in your conference doing great, and it just pretty much just shows how strong our conference is, and it's always great for people in the same conference to be moving down the same path.
Do you think having to go through that during the season is kind of helped you get here?
Oh, definitely. Battle every night, come down to close games just like tournaments are, and the tournament teams every night in the Big 12, so it definitely prepared us for this.
Go back to Nancy here.
Just wondering if any of the players ever get control of the playlist, and if you did, what would you guys have on it?
We don't quite get control of the playlist. We do get upset with our guys sometimes for playing some of the country. Tell them to go ahead and skip that. But yeah, the playlist is pretty good. I wouldn't make too many changes of it, other than maybe a little less country, like you said.
In the back over here, please.
Zach Schomburg, New York Times. Keenan, what's the 300-shot club, and how has that helped shape or reshape your game?
It's just something that we believe in. It helps us get in the gym, and we just want to get at least 300 makes of game shots in, whether it be pull-ups, free throws, little floaters, little post moves. It's just basically what game shots you take, you go in there and work on it, and so you just take it with confidence, and it helps the team have confidence in those shots, knowing that you put in the work to do it.
Other questions for the student athletes? Okay, seeing none, gentlemen, we'll dismiss you to the locker room area. The breakout rooms for the Texas Tech student athletes, that will be beginning at 3:15, so in about 15 minutes from now. Zaire Smith will be in room 1, Justin Gray and Liam Stevenson will be in room 2, Jared Culver in room 3, and Norenz Odiase in room 4. And the locker room area should be open, yes. Yes. With that, now we can take questions for Coach Beard. Raise your hand again, and we'll get a microphone to you. We can start in front with Rich, please.
Hi, Chris. Rich Thompson, Boston Herald. Just kind of follow up on what the players said about the commitment to defense and especially the importance of that in this game.
Well, we're a defensive team. It's our culture. First thing we do in recruiting is see if guys play defense or have the ability athletically to play at our level. We talk to recruits about you're going to guard if you come here. Every day in practice, we spend more time on defense than anything. A lot of our scoring in practice is defense. We'll play pickup games in the summer, and the team that gets the stop gets the point, not the offense. Then we have a great defensive staff. On our staff, Mark Adams, who's not a national name, but those of us in college basketball that understand defense understand how good Mark Adams is. His teams have always played great defense, and he's put a great input in our program, both at Little Rock, where we were one of the best defensive teams in college basketball, and now at Texas Tech. That's traveled. Then our other coaches, whether it be Al or Augie or these guys, we're all kind of defensive people, which can lead to very ugly offense at times. But we are a defensive culture.
Over here to Dana first.
Chris, you talk about culture, which I know is a big word, but when you come into a place and you are new to guys, how do you nitty-gritty build that and break it down with them when you really have no relationship with them?
Did you write the article on Coach Huggins a couple years ago and I called you? We talked? Yeah, it's awesome. He's the best. Bob Huggins is great to coaches. He treats me the same way today that he treated me when I was a junior college coach. He's what's right about basketball. And I appreciated the article you wrote. I saved that. I have it on my office, in my office. I'm sorry, my ADD is kicking in. What was the question?
So when you get to a school and you don't know kids, culture is a big thing. How do you nitty-gritty break that down?
Well, to me, I'm a relationship coach. You could just imagine kind of how I felt. You get the Texas Tech job, and it's really exciting. And then a couple hours later, you try to lay down and get some sleep, and you start thinking, okay, well, now I got to try to go against Coach Kruger and Coach Self and Coach Huggins and Coach Weber. And, I keep going down the way, Coach Prone, Shaka, all these guys, Coach Drew. It's almost impossible. And my plan has never been to out-coach anyone, but my plan has been to have great relationships with the players. And maybe our guys will do a little bit more, run through that wall a little bit harder because of the relationship we have with them. I also think in recruiting, when a guy has to choose between going to Kansas or UCLA or Texas Tech, that's a hard decision. But I want him to think in Texas Tech, I'm going to have a relationship with that head coach that I'm not going to have anywhere else. That's just important. It's the foundation of everything we do. So when you get a job, what you're doing is you're just fighting time. Because now we're trying to beat Kansas, and Coach Self's been with Graham every day for 4 years. I've only been with Keenan for 15 minutes. So we try to get the relationship as quick as possible, and that's why we have a lot of things, individual meetings. I meet with the guys all the time, small groups, team retreats, late nights at the gym, showing up to their warm-ups, being a presence in the training room, being a presence at meals throughout the week. Certainly don't want to get in where they roll their eyes every time they see me. There's like a fine line, kind of like with my daughters. I think they like hanging out with me, but they don't want to hang out with me all the time. But the foundation of every relationship is trust. So when we get the job, we just tell guys what we're going to do. We're careful to say something that we can't deliver on. So first thing I did, I remember the first day I was at Texas Tech, right after the press conference, the guys were eating, and I wasn't satisfied with the level of food these guys were eating. They weren't eating like Big 12 players to me. So with Kirby Hokut's help, and Chad Weiberg, and now Tony Hernandez, they've supported the program at the highest level. There's nothing that anyone else has that we don't. And so I told Justin and Keenan and those guys, hey, we're going to improve the nutrition overnight. The next meal you have will be much, much upgraded. And I delivered. And then we say we're going to go meet with your parents the next 24 hours in their living rooms, and then we delivered. So everything we told these guys, we delivered. And I think that's where trust begins to happen.
Go over here to Nancy, please.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Chris, you've been able to do this a pretty quick turnaround at 2 different places now. Do you put a timeline on it when you arrive somewhere? And also, did you know that the guys might not like as much of the country as you do?
Well, we've done it more than 2 places. I don't want all my guys from Fort Scott and Seminole and Myrtle Beach and McMurray and Angelo State calling and saying, Coach, what's up? You forgot about us? You know, we've done this everywhere we've been. And it's not arrogance, but it's confidence. We have a process we believe in. My confidence comes from the people I work with, my coaching staff every day, the best of the best. We treat our players great, and we get guys that fit our culture, and we coach them hard. I've always been a guy that I really don't have a 2-year, 3-year plan. You know, ADs don't like that, but competitors like Kirby, a former student athlete, understand, like, we're here to win today. We feel like if we put a good day together, you know, like tomorrow we have no chance if we don't have a great day today. So we got to try to win each day, and that's where our process. And I think, too, with all the coaching changes, I respect the question, but the one group of guys that always gets left out in those, I've always thought, it's the seniors. You know, you bust your ass for 4 years, it's your senior year, a coaching change happens, and all of a sudden some new guy comes in. He's talking about building it. I mean, they got time to build it. Keenan Evans didn't have time for us to build it this year. He's got one shot, and that's the way I've always felt, too. You know, guys like me get one shot, and that's just the way we coach. You know, I grew up in Irving, Texas. We played at Conflans Park outside and Northwest Rec inside, and guys would wait all day to play. You'd call next game. We'd play to 7 2s and 3s, and if you win, you stay on. If you lose, you go home. And the only way you get back on the court if you lose is if somebody picks you up, and I was never that player. Wasn't good enough. So I had one chance. And so that's the way I've always kind of viewed basketball. And ultimately, when we get to this tournament, everybody has one chance. And so the quicker you get yourself in a mindset as a recruiter, as a person, as a student, as a practice player, whatever, I think the one-shot mentality, that's kind of where we're at. I promise you, we approached our first game of the year against South Alabama this year just like we'll approach tomorrow. We got to win. It's a must-win. It's the way we've always felt.
Go over here, please.
Hey, Chris. Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer. This isn't my real question, but I have to know this. Do you really play Mama Tried for these guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that's all. Diversity is the spice of life. Think about this. I've been a little bit on the world. I coached the Swiss national team a couple summers ago as an assistant, and you know, that's what makes our country great. Like, look at the room today. Everybody's different. Diversity is America. Diversity is the beauty in life. Like, so I tell the guys, Justin, what's your favorite food? Man, I really like seafood. All right. Do you eat it every day? Well, no, that's crazy. Exactly. So why should you listen to hip-hop every single day? It's diversity. I mean, this is where we're going with this. So we believe in it. Now, these guys, I don't know, Zach and Keenan, like, we have a deal where they get 3 songs and I get 1. That's the ratio. Unless we lose, and then I get 3 and they get 1. So win. It's a winner's world.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your courage in any case. But Villanova presents a challenge for opponents in that particular challenge defensively, in that they are able to stretch you so much with their perimeter game, and when you stretch, then they're able to get in and get to the line or create other kind of damage. Do you have other teams that you can template your team to against what Villanova does, or how do you approach those dual challenges?
Well, first of all, with their program, I think like in my generation growing up studying coaches, people think Bob Knight changed basketball. He did with motion offense. And Coach Sutton, who should be in the Hall of Fame, it's an absolute no-brainer. Changed basketball with the defense, with Mr. Ivan defense. I think in my generation, Coach Jay Wright's changed basketball. He's the one that kind of invented small ball, where your 4-man can shoot threes. They always have 4 guys on the floor that shoot. I mean, this is the way that our teams try to play. I can't tell you how many players over the years that I've made watch Villanova tape in my office, trying to, kind of talk them out of playing the 4 when their AAU coach and their mom, their high school coach think they're a 2. Well, look, Villanova does it. So, this guy, it's transformed basketball the way they play, and we're all kind of doing the same thing. In our league, Kansas plays similar offensively with the three-point shooting, the spacing. And then certainly, I think their defense is really good too. Villanova's identity is their offense, but their defense is hard to score against. They switch. They have multi-dimensional players. They're really aggressive, and so we got all sorts of worries in this game. We're obviously going to have to figure out how to stop them or contain them, but then we also got to figure out how to score some baskets on the other end.
Over here, Nicole, please.
Nicole Iraq, The Athletic. Chris, you were talking about the turnarounds, and to do it here, and this is a place that means a lot to you, how do you sustain it beyond just the 2-year turnaround and everyone's thrilled for this run right now?
It's just back to our day-to-day process, just continuing to do the things every single day, whether it's nutrition, weight room, individual work, respecting the academic part of being a student athlete, team practice, fueling the body, recovery, sleep, just all the things. And as coaches, continuing our process, recruiting every day, don't let up, keep grinding, have that balance in your life. And so it's kind of that'll be that kind of the next challenge. Can we maintain this? And I look forward to that challenge.
Over here, please.
Mark Herman from Newsday. Chris, to go back what you were saying the other day about driving the van, when you were doing that, what kept you going, and where did you envision yourself someday when you were coaching those? And were there any kind of, like, I'm sure you had some very quirky gyms that you played in. What were those experiences like?
Well, just the love of the basketball is who I am at my core, and really everybody in our culture, in our program. Everybody loves basketball. And I know most people think, what do you mean everybody loves it? No, they don't. There's a lot of coaches and players that play and coach this game for what the game gives you, and it gives you a lot. My daughters will have a life that I never had, and I had a life that my parents never had because of basketball in a lot of ways. But a lot of guys, don't love the game. We do. Zach Smith and Keenan Evans, these guys, they love basketball. Like, we're going to try to find a gym later today where some guys can get some shots up. We just love it. So to me, I have the same feelings now that I had, at Fort Scott when we were trying to beat Coffeyville, or at Angelo State when we were trying to beat Tarleton. It's all the same to me. It's basketball at the core. And so I take, at first I kind of shied away from it, but now I embrace that because I feel like if I'm representing other coaches and other levels of basketball success we have, then I'll gladly kind of carry that torch, because some of the best coaches I've ever coached against are guys y'all haven't heard of. There's great coaching and great playing at every level. Well, at Fort Scott Community College, our home arena, Arnold Arena, was a rodeo barn. And it's just, it was a metal building and with a wall right down the middle, and had one single door. And half of it was the rodeo arena, where we had a national championship type rodeo team at Fort Scott in Kansas. And then the other half was the basketball court. And so that's certainly a pretty cool place. In the ABA, in my professional days, and we played at rec centers, we played all sorts of places. So, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy that loves basketball. And what's been special about this team is these guys love basketball too. We're just a bunch of guys that love the gym, love to compete, and love to win.
Over here to Julian, please.
Julian from the Globe. Same thing from earlier, but you guys obviously led the Big 12 in bench scoring. It's been important for you in the tournament. How do you cultivate or develop that second unit and give them the trust, or let them know that you trust them? And then how does that work with the ones and twos? And then how beneficial has it been over the course of this season?
Yeah, it's definitely part of our identity. I think our depth, the ability to play more people, the ability for our defense not to fatigue, the ability to have different offensive weapons and different guys step up different nights. It's a different way to play. Our teams over the years have never had the leading scorer in a conference. It's not the way we play. We just value balance. I think it's the way you can win championships. I think you can, make tournaments with the leading scorer, but if you look at this and study the game like I do and have, balanced teams are the ones. So whenever we can get 4 or 5 guys in double figures, we're tough to beat. That was certainly the case last night. The way we do it, we just put our roster together accordingly. We try to tell the guys exactly what we expect, role definition from day one, expectations. And then also just kind of buying your time. Like we got some guys right now coming off that bench. They're going to be special players in much bigger roles next year. So just the confidence that this is what the team needs you to do. But then also the confidence that one day your individual dreams can come true through playing team basketball. Really takes everybody. Everybody on our team has made sacrifices. And it takes just a culture that's based on selfishness. Like we just really believe, like, we don't like entitlement in our program. Like we're staying at these ridiculously nice hotels right now where people come around, they take your plate from you. I don't let that happen. I mean, seriously, we make our guys get up and put the plate on the table, myself included. The other day, one of our staff members, Max, who's from France, leaves his plate out. I mean, he's still catching grief on our staff about it. So no entitlement culture and no selfishness. We just keep bringing it up where you either fit in or you don't. And then one of the things, this great story right here, Justin Gray on our team, one of the best players I've ever coached. I've never had a guy embrace a different role. Justin's role has changed every year he's in college. And this year when Zach went down, we knew Justin was going to have to play out of position, and we've asked Justin Gray to do things for this team, and he's been nothing but great. He guards the other team's best player. He takes mid to late jump shots. He's our best screener. He doesn't care about the stat sheet. Justin Gray's a winner. And then last night, it was only fitting in last night's game in the first half, when we're really, really struggling, who steps up and makes 3 or 4 individual plays on his talent? Justin Gray. So in a lot of ways, Justin Gray is our unselfish culture.
In the back, please.
Hi, Tara Sullivan from the Boston Globe. This may be a little out there, and it just occurred to me because you made a comparison raising your daughters and coaching, and I'm just curious, is there a comparison there, and what ages are your girls like, and has raising them affected or influenced the way that you coach the game?
Yes, I'm definitely a different coach today now that I'm a father than I was in the early days. Was a head coach at Fort Scott when Avery was born in Fort Scott. So those early days, girls have taught me, patience and being a little bit more level-headed, appreciation for life. They've really kept me humble as well. Margot, my youngest at 10, she literally thought we came to Boston to go to the American Girl store. I don't think she understands the basketball side of it, but she's starting to. But no, definitely, I think being a father is just giving me balance. One part in our process is balance. I tell guys in recruiting, I don't want you to come here and just waste out. Like Michael Jordan was a golfer, was his release. It's my understanding Kobe's a great father to his kids, and we see Steph and how he raises his beautiful daughter. And balance is everything. I didn't have that earlier in my career, but I think I'm a better coach today because of it, and I really encourage our players to have balance, whether it's social media or a girlfriend or their faith or a great TV show. I think that's what makes you great at something if you have balance in other areas of your life. So that's made me better coach because I'm a father.
Over here to Nicole, please.
How does the Big 12 and the fact that it's such a strong conference year in and year out help you get a gauge of where your team is, but also present you with these opportunities of making the tournament, even if you're in the middle of the pack, you can get these opportunities to go on runs like this?
Yeah, so the Big 12 is just a grind. It's well documented. We play each other twice. Hall of Fame coaches. Every team has NBA players or prospects. Every team has a great home court, including us in Lubbock. Sold out our last 5 or 6 home games. It was special. College game day came. So the grind is just brutal when you're in it, but I think it does pay dividends when you get out of the tunnel. The challenge is, trying to just make sure that you survive the grind where you can get in the tournament. But we spent a lot of time this year talking about our team about Oklahoma when they had Buddy. I think they finished 4th in the league that year, and they played in the Final Four. And certainly that's kind of the journey, is to stay the course. I'm a guy, though, that will never complain because the Big 12 always gives you opportunities to win. You win 2 in a row, you're the talk of college basketball. Every night's a chance to play against a ranked team almost. I've been on the other side of it at Little Rock when you're in a one-bid league, and that's a totally different beast. To me, the most toughest thing in all of athletics, tougher than the Final Four, tougher than the Super Bowl or the World Series, to me, is when you're in a one-bid lead, you've had a great season like we had, and then you got to win that championship game. It's a different kind of pressure. My good friend Bob Marlin had a special season this year at Louisiana Lafayette, and they get beat in the conference tournament. That's just that's tough. That's why I would be in favor of expanding the tournament just a little bit. I'm not smart enough the days and the weeks and all that and TV. But I do think that there's enough quality basketball to give everybody one more game that I think would make the tournament special. But that's just my opinion.
Over here, please.
Chris, you mentioned Coach Knight, and you know him pretty darn well. So I just wondering if you had a story or two that you could tell us from your time with him about just how that developed your philosophy of coaching a little bit, or what you took from him, or that sort of thing.
There's so many things about Coach Knight, but on a basketball side, it's just the idea of simplicity is how you get to this tournament. I mean, look at Villanova's team. I think they have like 5 plays, but they're really, really good at those 5 plays. And on defense, you know, they do a couple things, but they're just really good at what they do. And I think I see a lot of Coach Knight in the Villanova team. Coach was going to run motion offense, and he's going to guard you man-to-man. That's what he did. 3 national championships, Pan American, the Olympic gold medal. And so I think the simplicity, and I think we try to do that. Now, we're out there a little bit more. We'll try some things. We'll throw some punches. But at the end of the day, you know, we got to guard, and we got to take good shots, and that's who we are. Also, just the commitment to study your team. Like, I've been at the tournament with Coach, not this game, but we went to the Sweet 16, and I'll never forget it. Like, we're playing Gonzaga after we beat UCLA, and back at the hotel, he's watching film from practice back in Lubbock a couple days ago, and that's just his commitment to film study and in our team. Obviously, he was concerned with Gonzaga, but he was more concerned with our guys and playing our game. That's one of many things I learned from Coach basketball-wise. You know, personally, I just think he's and I think it's nice to see later on in life, I think that these things are starting to come out, but this was a good human being. This was a guy that took care of his players, a guy that wanted his guys to graduate, and guys that did a lot of things behind the scenes that nobody wanted to know about. I was thinking in today's world, you'll see somebody do something nice, and it's almost like publicized. You know, not only did Coach Knight never want his benefactory work and stuff like that publicized, he'd get damn near pissed off if you did talk about it. But I know firsthand, and I'm proud to talk about it. Coach can't do anything to me now. You know, he can get mad at me, but I'm proud to say that I know he did a lot of things for people financially, people that were in jams, people that had some adversity. Coach was always there financially to help those people, and that was the side of Bob Knight that a lot of people don't know. He's a really good person. And then Pat, simply stated, is probably the most unselfish, generous person I've ever been around. Pat would give you the coat off his back and still does today. So a lot of things from the Knight family basketball-wise, but also a lot of things from the Knight family person-wise.
Time for 1 or 2 more for Coach. Over here, please.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Apologize if you've already touched on this, came in late, but just the difference in defense this year for you guys. What changed from last year's team, and the importance of Coach Adams on the defensive side of the ball for you guys?
Well, I think personnel-wise, we're more athletic. You could do some things with Z and Culver and Brandon Francis and these guys. We're just simply stated more athletic. I think we're also a tougher team. When our season ended last year against Texas, sooner than any of us would have wanted, the first thing I told the players is we got to get better players next year and better coaches. They can be the same people, but we need a better version of you, Keenan, a better version of you, Naeem, and we need a better version of me and a better version of the staff. And I think we've delivered. I think everybody in our program is better than we were last year. It's certainly just our talent with the athleticism. We're able to do some things defensively. Then again, I'll give Coach Mark Adams a lot of credit. You know, Coach Adams is a defensive genius. His teams have won wherever he's been, whether it be a national junior college championship at Howard with Jay Crowder, whether it be West Texas A&M tournaments, whether it be our Little Rock team. He's always been a great defensive mind. And we did make some systematic changes with our defense from year 1 to 2. We tried to keep the ball in the middle a little bit more. This year we've changed up our post defense and our ball screen defense. So, you know, I would give our whole staff a lot of credit, led by Coach Adams defensively. I would give our staff credit for having some more athleticism on the roster this year. And then above all, I would give our players credit. They have embraced this. They understand that if we were going to do anything this year, we had to improve defensively and with rebounding, and we've done both.
Final question for Coach? Coach Beard, thank you.
Thank you.
About 5 minutes remaining in the Texas Tech locker room and breakout sessions. We'll be back here at about 3:40 for Villanova student athletes and Coach Jay Wright. Thank you, Coach. doing, man? Same thing. Still working out of Providence. So yeah. Missed the old days, but but the new days are still cool too. So okay, we welcome back the Villanova Wildcats representing the Big East Conference with a record of 33-4. From my left to right, head coach Jay Wright, Jalen Brunson, Mikhail Bridges, Amari Spellman, Eric Pascal, and Phil Booth. We'll have begin with an opening statement from Coach Wright. Again, then questions for the student athletes only for about 20 minutes. We'll then excuse the student athletes to the breakout sessions, and then 20 minutes for questions with Coach Wright. But we'll begin with an opening statement. Coach, your thoughts on the upcoming matchup with Texas Tech, please.
First, it feels like we just left here, and it is nice to still be here. The ultimate survive and advance after last night's game, and looking at another really physical Big 8 team. Big 8, Big 12, sorry. Showing my age. Wow, that's going to hurt. These guys, man, we watch a film of Texas Tech and West Virginia playing each other. Man, it was more physical than our game. But a very well-coached team, very disciplined on both ends of the floor, can really grind you. Their motion screening action is unique, reminiscent of Bobby Knight's teams that you don't really see that as much anymore. We worked against it today. It's kind of tough. There's not a lot of teams that screen that much, and obviously a lot of great players. Keenan Evans. Says, when you're in this tournament, you're just going to play against great players, and they've got a lot of them.
Okay, we'll take questions for the student athletes only at this time. Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. We'll start with Joe.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer for Jalen and Mikal. What is it like to have the freedom to shoot three-pointers whenever you guys are open, taking the shots? I don't know if you realize this, but you're like 11 threes away from a record for most threes by a team in a season. What's it like to have that kind of freedom and confidence in yourselves and your teammates?
I think it starts with our confidence we have in each other, the confidence Coach has in us. We put a lot of time and hard work in the summers and the fall, even in the winter. So Coach has a lot of confidence in us, and we have confidence in each other to go out there and make shots, no matter where they are.
Yeah, add on to that, I feel like, we preach defense so much that we have confidence to take, some threes, but even if we miss, we don't worry about that. We know that we're going to go back on the other end, and we're going to defend and try to get stops.
Other questions? Over here, please.
Bob Ford, Philadelphia Inquirer. Phil, since you came back from your injury, did you feel like when you first came back you were a little tentative and you had to work your way back into both, game shape and also having the confidence in where you were? And do you feel you're at the end of that process now? Do you feel you're where you want to be?
Definitely, just playing the games definitely picks up the game shape, just getting used to the rhythm of the game and playing. But I definitely feel very comfortable now on both ends of the floor and understanding the game and having that rhythm back and just getting that overall feel for the game has been a lot easier for me to get back. So doing fine with that.
Stay over here to Dana.
Dana O'Neill at The Athletic. Jalen, this couple of weeks, Sister Jean at Loyola has been getting a lot of run, but Father Rob, is he underappreciated, I'm wondering? What's he do for you guys?
Father Rob does a lot for us. He just finds ways to make sure that we're always thinking about each other, day in and day out. It does go unnoticed to the outside, but for us, he means a lot, and we're just glad that we're happy we have him.
Over here, please.
Hi, Tara Sullivan from the Boston Globe. For any of the players, I'm sure you've been asked by family and or friends since going to Villanova, what is it like to play for Coach Wright? How do you guys usually answer that, or what's the first thing you think to say?
Coach, he demands a lot of you in a good way. He pulls out the best of you, and he wants the best out of everyone. So he pushes you to that limit, and he makes you become the best player you can be here. And that's why we all appreciate him for what he does. So just demanding you to be the best you can be.
Back row, please.
Fabo, CNHI. Mikal, this question's for you. If you could look back on the year that you redshirted, what was that conversation like? Deciding that you're going to redshirt, and then what do you think you learned through that season?
It wasn't really complicated at all. The coach just brought me in. I think we were in Bethlehem. I think we were right before a game maybe, and they brought up the idea and what it would look like for the future, and it made sense. I was young for my grade, and I wasn't just physically there yet. So talked to my parents about it. They were with it too, so we just came with that idea. And, looking back on it, I'm happy I did it. I spent a whole year in the weight room just getting stronger. I was still practicing every day. So I was playing with a lot of great guys who was making me better on both ends. And I was, had a lot of extra work. I was just working on my game with Coach Ash. So I think that was a big thing in my life that helped me out probably the most.
Mark Herman from Newsday, New York. Eric, I'd like to get your thoughts on what made you choose to go to Villanova, and how did this change affect your life? And also, what did you think about your dunk last night?
Coming to Villanova, I guess it was just a family atmosphere. I mean, being part of a family like this is a brotherhood. We have a lot of great guys that care for each other. And just that 1 year out has definitely helped me tremendously defensively. I mean, most of my workouts were all defense. I would probably spend 20 minutes on offense, all the rest on defense. So I definitely did a great job. And the dunk yesterday, the coach just tells me to go up strong. That's all I did.
Back to Joe.
For Jalen, Javon Carter and his teammates chased you around for 37 minutes last night. You were all over the place. Want to know how you feel today physically? How are your legs? And what do you think you're going to feel like tomorrow when the game starts?
I think I'll be ready by game time tomorrow. I'm going to rest today. We had a great short practice. Got our blood flowing, got a good stretch. We're just going to recover now and just be ready. So I feel fine. This late in the season, I mean, everyone's banged up, but you just got to keep fighting, pushing through.
Nicole.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Jalen and Phil, how does the game that you just went through against West Virginia prepare you for an opponent like Texas Tech? I'm sure it's kind of an interesting back-to-back opponents.
The physicality West Virginia play with, the same Texas Tech going to bring with. The length they had on the defensive end. As you saw last night with Konate, who could really protect the floor, but a lot of guys they had last night with Harris and West, they're a lot of the same with Texas Tech, who brings a lot of athleticism as well. And one of the best defensive teams in the country. So just kind of that physicality on the defensive end is kind of where they're similar at. So.
Just to add on that, I think you hit it spot on. They're very similar. They come from a conference who are a lot of athletes, a lot of great coaches, a lot of great defensive schemes. They're physical. They play hard. They wouldn't be in this position if they didn't do those things. They defend, they rebound, they do what they do.
Samir Kumar, Global Basketball. This is for Jalen. So Keenan Evans said in the press conference before this that they're going to try to use their defense to take you guys out of your rhythm since they know that their offense just isn't on your level. So Jalen, how can you lead this team offensively while playing a team that's hungry defensively and continue to get these guys in rhythm?
We just got to be ready to go. We got to do what we do. Texas Tech, they're going to do what they do, and just play defense the way they play defense, play offense the way they play offense. We got to play hard together, play smart, play with pride, do what we do for 40 minutes. We can't, nothing changes for this game. We just got to go out there and focus on those things, focus on our core values. And, offensively, we trust each other. It doesn't matter who's getting the credit, it doesn't matter who's scoring, who's making the plays. We all trust each other, and we're just going to play together for 40 minutes.
Over here, please.
John Fanta from Big East Digital Network. Phil, being on the national championship team 2 years ago and playing a big role, a lot was talked about with Daniel Sheffield, what he gave you guys in the front court. Can you speak to what Omari gives this team?
He gives us a dimension that a lot of people don't have with just how great he is on both ends of the floor. What goes unappreciated, probably saw a little bit last night, is how great he's become defensively. Just guarding ball screens, he's active. He has a great motor with him, loves the rebound, and then on the offensive end, his skill really shows where he shoots the ball. So he's probably one of the most important pieces of part of this team is what he does for us.
And then to follow up, Omari, when you came in, last year, I know you had that gap year, a bit of an interesting situation, but all these veterans always tell us what Villanova basketball is like. Can you explain just like your first taste of Villanova basketball and kind of how it hit you and what playing for Coach Wright's been like from your perspective?
I personally would define Villanova basketball as defending and rebounding and playing hard and together for your teammates. And it was just something kind of new to me when I first got here, and it was definitely a learning experience and something I had to experience and go through and struggle with at first to be able to finally understand it and be on the same page with these guys and just compete at the highest level with them. And it was definitely Good for me is not only a basketball player, but a person.
In the back over here, please.
Oh, McHugh, City Basketball Love. Eric, you were part of that national title team. That was your first year here redshirting. Kind of, how much different is it now, kind of being able to contribute to a deep tournament run?
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, it's blessed to be here. I mean, it's just great to be part of a team like this. It's a great culture, great atmosphere here, and it's just always been a blessing to be here.
Any further questions for the student athletes? All right, gentlemen, we'll excuse you to the locker rooms and breakout room areas. The breakout rooms for Villanova student athletes beginning at 4 o'clock. Jalen Brunson will be in room 1. Eric Pascal, Phil Booth in room 2. Amari Spellman will be in room 3, and Mikhail Bridges will be in room 4. Remaining Villanova student athletes will be available in the locker room as well for, until 4:20. And we'll continue with questions for Coach Jay Wright. Again, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. You can start with Mike over here, please.
Jay, you end up talking a lot about Jalen's intangibles, and you're asked a lot about them. But I mean, you don't pick up National Player of the Year awards just on intangibles. Can you point to some X and O things that little things that he's improved on the most in his 3 years?
Man, there's a lot. I would say first, his ability to play off the ball, where you'll see plays where he comes off screens like a 2-guard catching to shoot. In transition, just catching to shoot threes. Obviously, pick and roll decision making. I think he's elite at being able to score in pick and roll, being able to find the roll man and being able to find others. I think he's developed his post up game each year that he's been here better and better. He's our best low post player. I mean, he can do everything from there. He can score. He can get fouled. He finds his teammates on the perimeter. He's a great rebounding guard. I just think he's as complete a basketball player as you can be. Even though he's got the size of a point guard, he can guard every position, and he can really play every position offensively.
Go over to Joe.
Jay, we all know about shoot 'em up, sleep in the streets, but you've always given these guys a lot of freedom. But this year, I mean, the freedom, the offensive efficiency, the three-point shooting is really off the charts. What have you done differently, and how do you explain the success with all the three-point shooting this year?
I think it's just been gradual over time. Just our emphasis on the three-point shooting, the players, recruiting players that are good shooters when we get them, and then working on it. We work on it daily. I think that's what Jalen was talking about when he said spring, summer, and fall. We even this deep into the season, we'll do what we call technique shooting workouts. So it's just gradually progressed, where it's become a big part of recruiting, a big part of our scheme, and also a big part of our development program.
Go to Nicole over here, please.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Jay, obviously Texas Tech is at this stage for the first time ever in their program history, and when you got to Villanova, there was more tradition, but you're still trying to kind of take it to a next level and hit something that the program hadn't been at. Are there any comparisons you can see with what Texas Tech is doing right now and what you went through at Villanova?
Yeah, definitely. You can see Chris is building a culture. You can see the steady growth, and the buy-in from he's got seniors coming off the bench. You can tell are very unselfish. You don't do that unless they're really bought into the program. And you can tell it's going to be a long. You can tell I believe he said Texas Tech was his dream job, like Villanova for me. When you really love where you are, it's advantageous in selling that to players. And in our fourth year or fifth year, we had a team like this, went to the Final Eight, and it's kind of similar to their team. I think they're a little bit bigger and maybe better defensively, but I can just see he's got a really strong culture going forward, and he's got young guys that are in it too that are going to continue to grow it. I think this is a long-term thing. I don't think this is a flash in the pan for Texas Tech.
What did Dana?
Jay, coaches like to say that you learn a lot by losing. You guys haven't done a whole lot of that in the last couple of years, so absent that adversity, how do you make sure that they continue to get better and work?
Yeah, it's actually easy to learn from losing. It really is, because you're humbled and you're smacked in the face, and you're faced with decisions. Do you want to get better? You want to compete or not? It's hard to continue to learn from winning, and it's something that we really work hard at. Number one, in the kind of guys we recruit, we try to get intelligent guys that have some humility. That I think they're the two characteristics that allow you to continue to learn even when you're winning. You're not just evaluating yourself by the results of the game, but you're evaluating yourselves on higher standards. But you got to be pretty humble and intelligent to do that. And I think we've been really lucky with the guys we get that they've been doing that. And humility is something you got to work at every day. So we've been lucky that those guys work at that.
Go over here to Tara.
Tara Sullivan from the Globe. Jay, in a lot of ways, a rough year for college basketball in the headlines and stuff. What I wanted to ask you was, like, going back to the beginning for you, why college basketball? Why this level of coaching? And why, given some of those outside things, why do you stay in it? And what, if any, part is, the March experience for you? What part is that, if at all? But why this level?
Why Boston for an Irish girl from Jersey? Why? How did you get to Boston? The college part for me is the teaching part. I enjoy the teaching on the court, but I also understand, I love that this time in their life when they're 18 and 22, you can teach them about life. I know it sounds a little corny, but I really enjoy that. For instance, Omari's answer to that question I thought was really articulate, for a freshman, and it's something I'll spend a lot of time talking to him about. I hit Jalen, I was like, how about that for the young boy? That's pretty good. But we enjoy that, that's what I like about it. And this March experience is, it's magical for these kids. Just getting in it is magical. The day that you see your name come up, it kind of gives you a new life, no matter what happened during the season. And then every step of the way is a grand teaching experience, because we've lost in the second round a lot, as we all know. And that's hard for these guys to deal with. But teaching them that that's part of life has been a big part of our program, just because we do it a lot. We've just lost a lot and had some expectations. But then teaching them how to handle on this big stage the fact that there's much more in the world, that's more important, even though it seems like this is the biggest thing in the world. And it gives you the grandest stage to teach about life, the March experience, because it's the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Hey, Jay, I want to ask you a question about Phil Booth. Even though he's a starter and a great player, he can get overlooked a little bit on this team, or underappreciated for the things he does. And I'm tempted to say he had the best 1-for-6 night I've ever seen a guy have last night.
6 defensive rebounds.
Yeah, could you expand a little bit on what you saw that he did for you as a glue guy last night, absent the shooting, although the one shot was pretty good too, and what he does coming back from the injury as well?
Well, we tried to explain this a little bit when he was out. We had 2 of the freshmen broke hands; they were out. Eric Pascal missed a couple games, but when Phil was out, it was a big loss, but it gave us the greatest chance to improve, because he's the guy. if you're lucky, you have a guy like this on your team that everybody respects him as a player, but they really love him off the court. He's just one of those guys that is all about team. He's always about other people. He lights up a room wherever he is. Even in his classroom back at school, everybody loves him. So it was a big loss for us in the locker room, on the court, in practice. And in the game so having him out there in the game last night, he started the game guarding Carter, did a great job, 6 defensive rebounds. When we got down, he inbounded the ball every possession against their press, which is an incredible challenge against West Virginia. It's very difficult decision-making. And when we got down 6 and we called a timeout, I saw in him just looking in guys' eyes, him talking to guys. I knew he had this. So it's interesting when he shoots 1 for 6, it doesn't bother him. So all the other guys see that he's confident, he's missing shots. This is what we're supposed to do. He just lives it for us. He's an amazing kid. You don't get a lot of guys, and he does get overlooked, the guy scored 20 in the national championship game, but yet it doesn't bother him if he has a 1 for 6 night as long as he gets 6 rebounds and we win. It's a rare breed in sports these days, and we're lucky to have him. But everybody on our team knows it. Our team, even Dante DiVincenzo, as talented as he is, he doesn't have any problem coming off the bench behind Phil. That's how much he's respected on our team.
In the back, please.
Mike DeFabo, CNHI. Jay, you spoke a minute ago about how 18 to 22, those are really formative years. If you could you just look back at your time at Bucknell and kind of the lessons that you learned and how they shaped you as a coach and a person?
Yeah, I learned all the wrong things to do, and I had a great coach that was Charlie Willem, who was very patient with me, but I had a great learning experience. I was the first person from my family to go to college, so just everything there was new to me, just seeing guys that could be great students and great athletes, playing with great players, having a coach that was as concerned about me when I was a freshman and not playing that much as when I was captain of the team as a senior. A coach that was patient with my immaturity at 18 to 22. So I look back on all those things and think about, I always think about with our guys, what was I thinking about back then as a player? It was a great experience for me at Bucknell, educationally and athletically, and I want these guys to have the same experience at Villanova.
Over here to Zach.
Zach Schoenbrunn with the New York Times. Jay, Chris Beard was saying earlier that your 4-guard lineup and the 4-out-1-in offense actually transformed basketball in his view. Can you take us through the genesis of that? And was that out of necessity, or were you looking at where the game was going at that point?
Well, for our Philly people, you have to live through this again. I apologize, but we in 05, we had a starting team with Jason Frazier and Curtis Sumter, 6'11" guy and 6'8" guy. We played 2 forwards, 3 guards, and we were in the NCAA tournament, and we played Florida in a second-round game, and Curtis Sumter tore his ACL in that game. So we were going to go play Carolina in the Sweet 16. Carolina that year won the national championship. I think they had 6 first-round picks, I think, that year. So you're looking at a big – May was on that team and Felton, and it was an unbelievable team. So we had a 6'9" freshman center we were going to start, or we had Kyle Lowry, a 6-foot freshman daredevil. And it just – I just said, no one ever did that before. We didn't do it. And I just said, like, how can we – this poor 6'9" freshman is going to get killed. And Kyle at least will go in there and battle, and we'll just spread them out. And then we started doing it, and we lost the game by 1, a really close game. And Kyle Lowry, I think, had as many rebounds as May, and we came out of that game saying we lost that game. There was actually a controversial call in that game, And we came out of that game saying, whoa, man, we might have found something. But then Curtis Sumter came back the next year, and we thought, all right, how are we going to do this? And he tore his ACL again. So I was like, all right, no brainer, we're going with it. And it was so much fun to coach, and it was pure necessity. And it was so much fun to coach. We really didn't have any other choice. But we knew we kind of stumbled onto something, and then we kind of went with it.
Over here.
Mark Herman from Newsday, Jay. Speaking of the magic of this, like every game is like the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's a handshake line there. You know, you seem to, as much as anybody, you embrace that and you talk to guys. What do you say to them, to people in that? And what's the most memorable thing anyone ever said to you on that line?
I do enjoy that. It's, you know, by the time you get to this point, you know, you've had a great season. You know, everybody that's in this tournament, this is, I think it was to Tara's question, getting to the NCAA tournament is so big, and every year we have a watch party, you know, where we watch the show and all our fans there. And I say the same thing every year. I say, don't take this for granted. You know, the year you're not in it, you feel so left out, you know, and you're watching those other teams, you're so enviable. So everybody's feeling pretty good. Even when you lose, you're crushed, but you know you had a great year. So I just love telling the players, you know, you see guys you don't see during the year, how much you respect them because you prepared for them. We played Radford first game. I didn't see Radford play during the year, but you start watching film and you're saying, damn, these guys are really good. Mike Jones is a really good coach. I'm going to steal this. I'm going to steal that. So you get to tell them that, you know, and you know you're not going to face them in another conference game. They're going to be mad at you for. So it's enjoyable. It's really enjoyable. And I've had a lot of great moments. The first time we were ever in the NCAA tournament as a coach was against Eddie Sutton. And we were at Hofstra, and I think it was like what does it turn out to be? 3-14, is that right? Is that matchup? And we shook hands before the game. I was just so excited to shake his hand and meet him, and he said, "You do a really good job. Your team's well coached." I was like, "What? That was it? I was good." We got beat by about 25, but I was like, "That was good." Eddie Sutton said I was a good coach. Yeah, that kind of stuff it really resonates. I always remembered that. If I can ever do that for somebody, it's always nice.
In the middle, Jimmy, please.
Jimmy Golden from the Associated Press. Jay, you obviously won it all a couple years ago, and they've never been even this far. Is there anything to experience, especially when you're playing a team it's new to them?
I hope so, man. I really do hope so. You know, there's two parts of it. We've talked to our team about this, that, you know, Jalen and McHale and those guys, they've been through this. They've won it, you know. And there's a certain hunger when you've never been there that can elevate you too, you know, that you just want it so bad. And kind of felt like our team last year, that kind of hit us. You know, we kind of had two similar seasons in a row. We won the regular season Big East, you know, went to the Big East finals, won the Big East one year, lost another year, but same kind of record. And then you go into the NCAA tournament, you're a 1-16. We kind of got, it's crazy to say, but I kind of felt it was just like business as usual. But when you're in it for the first time and you're advancing, you're so excited, you're so hungry, that can be your advantage. You know, we got to remain humble, and we got to be more hungry than Texas Tech, and then hope some of our experience pays off.
Over here, please.
Owen McHugh, City Basketball Love. Jay, Eric and Dante were around for that title team, but obviously didn't play. They were redshirting. What did they do for that team, and then kind of playing with those guys, kind of practicing with those guys? Has that helped them through the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, I definitely think that helped. They saw the commitment level of that. They were part of it. They saw the commitment level of that team. There were a lot of times because those two were sitting out. I can't remember who our other young guys were, but that year, that's probably why we won it, but our second team that year at times would beat our first team because those guys were sitting out. and they would help us prepare. Great example is when we played Buddy Hield in the semifinals. Dante DiVincenzo was Buddy Hield in practice, and we couldn't stop him, you know. And I think it really accentuated to our guys how difficult it was going to be to stop Buddy Hield, and how focused they were on that. Eric did the same thing. So they were a part of it. They experienced that commitment, that sacrifice that it takes to get to this level. So I think they understand that. I think it's helped this team.
Time for two more. We'll start in the very back row and then go back over here.
Hey, Coach. So in preparation for this game after yesterday's really physical game against West Virginia, is there anything you're doing differently in game planning or just preparation for your players, getting them ready for another physical game tomorrow?
Yeah, we're trying to stay off our feet. You know, we didn't use the whole practice time. We're trying to stay as fresh as possible, and try to learn as much about Texas Tech as we can through film and team meetings, walkthrough type settings, just to be fresh, because they're just as physical. They play just as many. They play at least 10 guys. They're going to be able to try to wear us down, much like West Virginia did.
And then the last one right over here, please.
When Scotty hit the shot here back in 2009, how much did things change from before in terms of the perception of the program, in terms of how you handled things or how you were able to recruit, and just before and after that shot, what it did for the team?
It seems like Final Four in college basketball takes you to another level in everything. Recruiting, perception. That was our first one. In our tenure, Villanova had been there a couple times before, obviously, but it definitely gave us a cachet in recruiting and in perception of getting there. And even within the team, the players, like, having known they did that, the program knowing that they can do that it's really attainable. I think it helped in every area.
Coach Wright, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, just to wrap up the remaining schedule for today, the media shuttles will continue until 8:30 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow's